expect me to talk? No, Mr. Bond, I expect you to die.
Written by Richard Maybaum, directed by Terence Young, 1962's Dr. No, the very first official James Bond film. This was an exotic and adventurous and very entertaining film. And although it was missing a lot of the classic elements, like the gadgets for example, a specific car, or even the larger-than-life music, it started all of the elements which I consider to be most important for a Bond film. It has a charismatic lead, which would be an understatement in my opinion, beautiful women, larger-than-life set pieces, exotic locations, everyone's dressed beautifully, and for the time, unusually great action scenes. And another thing it has, and this is not talked about enough, I think, it has amazing dialogue. It has very entertaining dialogue, very classy dialogue, and as I always say, this is what separates a Bond film from other action films. It has unusually witty dialogue. There's always a great cat and mouse play between our hero and the villain, and that's always very interesting. And yeah, I consider this even to be one of the most important elements for this franchise. So it's not talked about enough. I want to talk about it a little bit because the scene between Wiseman and Connery is one of my favorite scenes in the whole franchise. I think this is very highly entertaining. But first of all, we have to talk about, of course, Sean Connery. I mean, the man, calling him charismatic, as I said, would be an understatement. The first scene, we see him at the casino, smoking the cigarette and saying the classic line. This is one of the coolest things I've ever seen in my life. It's one of the coolest things I've ever seen in a movie. And, you know, the way he looks, the way he dressed, the way they did his hair, he oozes charisma. You know, the world was created for people like him. And he's timeless. It's timelessly cool, and it still holds up today. It's still cool today, and this is what first comes to mind. This scene, when I think about James Bond, this is the first thing that comes to mind. He's handsome, very good looking, of course. He's elegant, very elegant, and he's at the same time a little dangerous. He comes off as a little mysterious. Yeah, you don't really know who this guy is. He looks like someone who could do harm to you, you know? And he, of course, he can kill you with his bare hands. And yet there's something mysterious and dangerous behind his eyes and his look. And this is also what makes him so fascinating to women, I think. And yeah, of course, he's very charming. And yeah, I think Connery was the best, and still to this day holds up. I think Craig was the only one who came close to this in terms of, you know, the more mysterious and dangerous elements. But yeah, of course, I would prefer Connery. He's still my favorite. What I like a lot about this film is, you know, its vacation vibe, its island vibe. I love the exotic locations, and this is just like in the book. The book is the same. It's one of the more exotic novels that Fleming did, and I really enjoy this. It's a cozy film to watch, to get lost inside the film. You know, it's especially watching it on cold winter days, like we have at the moment. It's very snowy, very cold outside, and sorry, watching this sunny island vibe and beautiful women in bikinis and you know, the music, yeah, it comes off as very cozy and escapism. It's pure escapism, and this is what this film was. They intentionally did this novel first because it has this escapism vibe about it. And it was, you know, back in the days, people went traveling a lot and not traveling that far. It was very expensive. It was something for rich people to do. And yeah, I guess the usual middle class family didn't get that far, you know, going to Jamaica, going, you know, to those islands. And I think it was exciting for the people to look at those locations at the cinema, because yeah, they could, experience it on their own, even they weren't. It wasn't possible to travel there. So it must have been very interesting and very exotic back in the day, but it still is. It's beautifully photographed, of course. Those locations look really great, and yeah, that's one thing I love about the film. And combined with the set pieces, those are some of the most exotic and most interesting, most unique looking set pieces. And yeah, Ken Adam created those sets and he outdid himself like he did many times after this one. So looking at all of those details, just take a look at some of those pictures, those behind the scenes pictures from the set, and yeah, those many interesting exotic details. I love all of this. We have a very funny villain, I think. Joseph Wiseman plays Dr. No. So we don't see him until the last third of the film. But as I said, his conversation with Connery and the whole meeting, that's one of the most Bondian things I have ever seen, and this is the blueprint for everything that came after it. In terms of cat and mouse play, first of all, he invites is the wrong word to use. He captures Bond, but he's staging this as some sort of an invitation. Of course, he's a prisoner, but at the same time, it feels like an invitation to a luxurious, very exotic hotel. Because, he's in a beautiful room and he gets a breakfast, even they poison him and giving him sleeping pills or something. But they treat him like a guest at a 5-star hotel or something. And yeah, inviting him to dinner. Of course, a luxurious dinner and great drinks and stuff like that at this larger-than-life set piece. And this is what's so entertaining and interesting and unique about the Bond films. Yeah, this is a Bond trope, I'm capturing him, but treating him, like a guest at a 5-star hotel, and treating him, almost with respect, because. Yeah, as Dr. No tries to pull him to his side and make him a member of Spectre. And, it's so funny. Then there's the dialogue itself, where he talks about Spectre and he talks about the East and the West, each as stupid as the other and stuff like that. And I'm calling Bond just a stupid policeman. And every word he says, every sentence is highly entertaining and classy. And this is my favorite thing about the film. This is my favorite scene about the film. And I think this is one of my favorite elements from all of the films in the franchise. There's not a film, every film has this in some way, of some sorts. So this is my favorite element. This conversation, it's one of the best scenes in history. Of course, we got Ursula Andress playing Honey Rider, and I have to admit, I'm not the biggest fan of hers. I cannot describe it. I cannot exactly tell you why that is. Because she's an interesting character in the books, even more so, because she was written as a little childlike, because she grew up in very at some island and living in the jungle and stuff like that, and far away from civilization. So she's pretty naive, but at the same time she learned to survive, and she learned hunting and fishing and all of those things, and knows how to defend herself. But at the same time, she stayed a little child because, she didn't went to any school or she's a very interesting character in the books. And this in the movie she also, they try to portray this, but only a little bit. It's more about her looks in the film, and nothing wrong about that. Don't get me wrong. And of course, there's the iconic scene where she comes out of the ocean wearing this unique bikini and singing the song. And yeah, that's iconic, of course. That's one of the most iconic scenes. And yeah, who am I to downgrade it of some sorts? I love it, but yeah, I think there are more interesting girls in the franchise, and I think she's way more interesting in the books. In the book, I love the book. It's one of my favorite novels from Fleming. Um, so yeah, she's great, and there are also interesting side characters in this film, like Jack Lord playing Leiter. I think he's the American version of Bond of some sorts. Because he got this swagger and wearing the sunglasses and the way he talks and he looks, and I think he's also a funny presence in the film, and yeah, he's like the American version of Bond of some sort. So I like him. There's Quarrel, a very likable side character. Um, Also from the books, and yeah, that's just he's just likable, and of course he has to die some at some point in the film, and yeah, you're sad for him. And of course, there's Bernard Lee playing M, and his face is the first thing that comes to mind when I think about M. It's also when I read the novels. I always picture Bernard Lee. Always, still to this day. Judi Dench is my favorite M because she's the more fleshed out character, and she got the greatest chemistry with Bond, with Brosnan as well as with Craig. But yeah, Bernard Lee is classic, and he perfectly fits the time, I think. And yeah, if you ask me about the character, his face is the first thing that comes to mind, so I like him a lot. There's another amazing side character who got very little screen time, but it's Sylvia Trench. She's the girl he meets at the casino, and she's playing mini golf, waiting for Bond coming home, playing mini golf in this little negligee or whatever she's wearing, and looking stunning, of course. And she's very entertaining because of her overacting, I think. She does this thing with her eyebrow, always has one eyebrow up, and yeah, I like how she plays this. Very entertaining, very funny, and she's also in the next film, but yeah, only in a little scene. It's a charming scene, her playing mini golf in wearing very little, and yeah, charming, just charming. Think about how unusually great the action scenes in this film are for the early 60s. The whole, yeah, of course, there's a lot of back projection, in the car chase scene. But at the same time, they really smashed the car and let it explode and things like that. And that was unusual for the time. Yeah, it takes a lot of the Hitchcock playbook, of course. And yeah, in the next film, it even copies a lot of scenes from Hitchcock films. But it was very rarely seen, action scenes of that caliber back in the day. So yeah, and it's still exciting today. I think not as exciting as in other films, because yeah, it was the early 60s. Not my favorite element about the film, but another thing to mention. So overall, this is one of my favorite films in the series, and it's my favorite Connery, along with Goldfinger. Those two are my favorites, my favorite Connery films. And, I like that Connery portrays Bond as a little more dangerous, a little more rough on the edges, and yeah, of course, charming as ever, and a lot of fun. Great sense of humor, dry sense of humor, very British. But he's a little more ruthless in this film. He's a little more serious, and I think it was the perfect balance. I think in this film, a lot of people say Connery really found his balance with the next film, or even with Goldfinger. But I think he already did in this film. I think it was a perfect balance. I like him a little more ruthless. I like him a little more serious, a little darker, but charming and humorous at the same time. And yeah, I think it was great. I think it's my favorite portrayal of Connery. I think I think he's the most interesting in this film, the most mysterious at the same time, and it's my favorite Connery performance in the whole franchise, along with Goldfinger. Biggest fan of the film, biggest fan of Goldfinger. But Goldfinger always comes first, but right after this comes Dr. No. And started all of the elements which I consider to be most important for this franchise. It's exotic, it's larger than life, it has charismatic characters, charismatic leads, interesting, entertaining villain, beautiful girls. The only thing that's missing, and I mentioned this at the beginning, is the larger than life music. There was no John Barry at the time, it was a little disposable, maybe. It wasn't something special, the music, and of course this is a crime for a Bond film, but it was the very first film, so things needed to build themselves, and that's a little sad. There's no larger than life music, no John Barry score. I like the title track, Of course, there's the famous Bond melody. That's great. And I like the Underneath the Mango Tree thing. I sometimes listen to it on summer nights, sipping on a drink. So I think the film still holds up today. I think it's timeless of some sorts, and you won't get bored watching this, because some of the 60s films, they may seem a little slow for today's viewing habits, but not this one. It's fast-paced, it has a great pacing, and I think you will enjoy it. So maybe consider to rewatch it if you haven't seen it in a while, rethink it, and it's just amazing. Thank you for watching. Love you, love the Bond community, and see you very soon.